That's set up. I'll get that out of the way. Add some mood lighting to hide how messy everything looks. Hey, welcome to Digital Castaway. I wanted to take some time to answer some questions and comments that you guys had from my last video, where we went down into the Radiant Rose build. So this is going to be a little bit more of a stripped back video, but I kind of wanted to get through and answer some questions and get you guys updated on everything that I've been working on. As always, if you like these kind of videos, please subscribe below. It really helps me out and shows me that people are interested in more of this content. Techman360 asks, are you approached by people in events, or as an artist, are you approaching people and clients? Any tips to where to get started? So that one's a little bit more of an interesting question, just because there is no real clear-cut answer. In this particular case, in Cincinnati, there is a lights festival called Blink that they host every other year and has had a couple iterations of it so far. I was aware of it through just being a patron of it in the past years, and they had an open call for light artists. At that time, I was hanging out with my friend Ryan, who you've seen in some of our past videos, and we had some ideas to jump into building some bigger projects. So we decided to go forward and try to pitch for the project. How that worked was it was an open call. So what we had to do was we had to build a presentation that we put together ourselves. I built some pre-renders to kind of get the idea across to the Blink board. And then I sent that off, and we were lucky enough that they liked the idea, they liked the presentation. I think it really helped having the visualizations, get them wrapped around the idea we were trying to go for. And through that, we received a budget, which we were using to build the project. So as for getting started, first check out to see if you have any arts festivals in your city. If you don't have anything big as like an art festival, a really great place to look is, musicians or local music festivals. If you work with people and you have the skills and the portfolio to showcase it, you can convince people to give you some money to build bigger projects. And that's part of what we're doing with this YouTube channel, is trying to get the information out there and get people aware of what we're doing so that, hey, we can make some more cool projects in the future. So really just keep making more stuff and try and meet people that are interested in what you do and interested in making cool stuff. Manu Kalias says, you can also make this run using the open source WLED controller. That is totally true. I'm aware of the WLED controller. As we were looking through the initial project scope, we were figuring out what we wanted to use to control our LEDs. I became aware of WLED at that point, but what we ended up working with was a larger scale pixel control board. Primarily because we knew we wanted something that was able to handle a larger amount of LEDs straight out of the box. I didn't really have a lot of experience programming at that point as well, so jumping into Python to control something through WLED was a little daunting at the time. So I knew that if we used the Advatech board, especially running it through Touch Designer, that we would be able to get to the end product, which is not something I was confident we would be able to do going with WLED. Still think it's a great protocol, and especially I've used it for other smaller projects with Arduino and stuff like that. It just didn't fit for this particular project, but still think it's a cool thing. Tech Turtle asks, what software did you use to program? Xlights or something else? No, same thing with the WLED. I was aware of Xlights, but I had a lot more experience using Touch Designer. What I really wanted with this project going into it was a lot of flexibility. When I was building the project, I didn't want to limit myself by getting into programming loops and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to be able to edit video, which is the thing I'm most comfortable with, be able to send that video into Touch Designer, and then it would play how I expected it to onto the lights just out of the box. With our initial plan with Touch Designer, the pixels were going to be running in a 3D volume, and that was something that we felt that Touch Designer was really well suited for, that we didn't really see a lot of the other programs being able to handle something when you get to that complex. Not saying it can't, I'm not that familiar with those other programs to say whether they could or not. I just knew that Touch Designer was doing well with what we needed it to do. So cool thing too, I know a bunch of people that program Xlights with their house and stuff like that. I think it's cool software, but yeah, Touch Designer is where we landed for just one of those reasons. That was a ramble. So not really a question, but Alpha Moonbase said, using an M1 Mac Mini is an, let's say, interesting choice, but if it works, it works. And on that note, that's exactly how we felt. We were going through figuring out what computer we wanted to use to run the system. We initially were going to run everything off of a beefy Raspberry Pi with some extra modules on it, but as we were getting farther along in the process, we were also running closer to the deadline. We weren't really able to build out a PC in time, and I found a Mac Mini M1 for a pretty good price just because the M2s had just been announced, and it seemed to have a really good balance between price, power, portability that we all needed to run something of this scale. Luckily on our end, the processing power wasn't super important. We didn't need a lot of processing power to do what we did, so we were able to just go with a basic M1. And I think for our exact use case, it was perfect, and I think it worked out really well. We're actually using the M1 again for a different project we have now, just because it worked so well the first time. So Isvar, I think that's how you say it, I would say, I'd love to hear how the project would have changed given what you know now. And that would be a big one of, well, a combination of things how I would approach it differently. First thing we learned is we didn't want to manufacture our own fixtures anymore. It was great for what we needed for that particular project, but it was just a lot of work for something that we could have potentially bought better off the shelf. On the software side, I think going in and having learned a little bit of Python, I would have figured out how to use the field system inside Cinema 4D to be able to do 3D animations without having to export video files. And the rough way I had kind of planned out how to do that is using fields over the spline object that we had made to represent our sculpture in the digital space, and basically allowing, like, if fields go over this point on the spline, it sends data directly to Touch Designer, which we could have then probably like cached inside Touch Designer or something like that. I think that would have made it a little more easy to get everything, get some more interesting looks out quicker, rather than having, like render a video sequence and then have to comp it and all that kind of stuff. But I wasn't too confident with my programming at that point, and I kind of just rushed through and was like, hey, I can export a video and map it inside Touch Designer this way. Cool, that's what I need to get done for this project, and that's the way I went about it. But yeah, I think just a lot of things of approaching the project differently, thinking a little bit more about the aesthetics of the racks earlier on and how it fit. Would have probably figured out a more robust tracking solution as well. But yeah, overall, I think this was a great first project for me to kind of expand out and figure out the world of electronic engineering. So it was a lot of fun, and it really helped us motivate us to make something bigger and move on to bigger and better pieces. So overall, I wanted to thank everybody that commented and gave us kind words. We really pushed ourselves for this project, and what I wanted to showcase with this video was that even though this project seems really complex, it was really just a culmination of a lot of different small pieces coming together into a bigger project. And I really hope to motivate people to show them that, hey, if you have this idea, especially with the power of the internet, you can find the resources to be able to put stuff together and build out bigger projects than you think you could. I never intended, I don't want to be a tutorial channel, but what I do want to be is an inspiration channel. So I hope you see something that I build and get the motivation to say, hey, I can build something myself. So I really encourage people to try new things and really expand out and explore new technologies and science and art and all that stuff, and have a good time making cool stuff. All right, again, thank you so much for asking all of those questions. I really appreciate it. It shows me how engaged you guys are. And if you have any more questions, feel free to leave them in the comments of this video as well. I want to try to get these kind of videos interspersed in my more complex, more built-out videos in the future, just to really showcase that, learning this kind of stuff can be fun, and I hope you guys make some cool stuff. So again, if you really like this video, please subscribe and keep an eye out for the next one. Thanks.